Hi, I'm Richard Karn, and you may have seen me on TV talking about the world's #1 expandable garden hose. Well, the brand new Pocket Hose Copperhead with Pocket Pivot is here, and it's a total game changer. Old-fashioned hoses get kinks and creases at the spigot, but the Copperhead's Pocket Pivot swivels 360 degrees for full water flow and freedom to water with ease all around your home. When you're all done, this rust-proof anti-burst hose shrinks back down to pocket size for effortless handling and tidy storage. Plus, your super light and ultra-durable Pocket Hose Copperhead is backed with a 10-year warranty. What could be better than that? I'll tell you what, an exciting radio-exclusive offer just for you. For a limited time, you can get a free Pocket Pivot and their 10-pattern sprayer with the purchase of any size Copperhead hose. Just text WATER to 64,000. That's WATER to 64,000 for your 2 free gifts with purchase. WATER to 64,000.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Pocket Hose. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at pockethose.com/terms.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have a right to an attorney prior to and during any question. If you can't afford one, the court will appoint one for you. Do you understand your rights?
When the wolf is at your door, your running's over, that's for sure. He already knows all about you. Cut you down, no matter by you. Now you better walk the
Warning, this episode of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast, may contain descriptions of acts of violence or that of a sexual nature and should be for people that are 18 years or older. Heed my warning, people. I do not get the facts of these cases off of the internet or from some television show. The facts I'm retelling you were presented to me by the victims of the crimes or the perpetrators who committed the crimes against the victims. My descriptions of the crime scenes, what I saw with my own 2 eyes. If you're going to get offended, please turn this podcast off now. Thank you. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. As always, I'm your host, Woody Overton. Today, we're continuing the series #Justice for Bradley. And it's Bradley Stracener. And in the studio again, I have Miss Morgan Baggett. Hello, Miss Morgan.
Hello, Mr. Woody.
Right. We're rolling with episode number 2. And y'all, we're going to drop these every Friday, as we always do the #Justice4 series. You please continue to share it. Share Bradley's story everywhere. We're just scratching the tip of the surface. The story has a ton of twists and turns and bad elements and bad actors, etc. So just share. All right, Morgan?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
All right. And so the tip line, we'll have it in all our social media. Please continue calling your tips. No tip is too big or too small. I'm going to work them all. If you want to talk to me, that's fine. If you don't, you can just leave information. But this is going to be a fluid, active investigation, boots on the ground. Yes, the bad people have been warned by now. They've listened to the first episode and they're listening to this one, and I'm coming for you. So go turn yourself in. Save us all some time. Maybe they already did it, Morgan, because this is dropping a week late, but probably not. Right? Who wants to go turn themselves in for murder?
Well, it'd be easier.
Yeah. It definitely would be easier, but nothing worth having is easy. And
not just for us, for them too.
You've been carrying this fight for Bradley Stracener for 5 years, I think?
I think 5 years and 8 months to be exact.
5 years and 8 months. Okay. So, real quick, Patreon and Convicts, we will have some bonus materials put up for y'all. I'm not sure what all yet. Morgan has a lot of stuff, pictures and different things. But we'll be working on that. Again, we're pre-recording this, I guess, 2 weeks early before they get this episode. And a lot's going to happen, y'all. This, in any active fluid investigation, a lot of things are going to happen. Changes are going to occur. Who knows? Well, I don't know what's going to happen yet, but I know shit's going to happen, right? So, but we'll deal with it accordingly. Y'all use the tip line, share it, and let's get another solved cold case. And yes, this is a cold case, and we'll get into that in a minute. But hashtag justice for Bradley Stracener is where it's at, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. So when we left you last, Bradley had borrowed his girlfriend Chelsea's car and gone wherever, right?
Sandy Hill.
Sandy Hill. And is Sandy Hill like a high narcotics area or something?
Yeah, it's there's some pretty rough areas in it. There's not much there. It was once booming. It's right outside of the military base.
Okay.
And
I spent some time there.
so formerly Fort Polk is now Fort Johnson. And
Is it?
Yep.
I didn't know they changed names. I was at Fort Polk when it was Fort Polk, and
Yep.
and I went to PLDC, Primary Leadership Development Course, otherwise known as Sergeant School.
Very nice.
There, I also taught classes there. The first Gulf War, which I don't even think you were born yet. And yeah, a lot of time over there over the years. So they never really renamed it Fort Johnson?
Yeah, and I did research on it. It became Fort Polk JRTC just a couple of days after I was born in 1993 in March.
It had been right after
So
last time I was actually on the base. But I've been back to Leeville and DeRitter and all that numerous times throughout my career with state police and as a polygraphist and criminal consultant on defense cases and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So, y'all, we're going back to Vernon Parish. Bradley is missing, but not totally unusual for Bradley. As we told you, Bradley battled drug addiction, but he was a good dude who went down the wormhole narcotics and ultimately lost his wife, and son didn't lose them. They always had love for him, but you had to make tough decisions, and told about it on the last episode, the last time that you saw him. But you also told about when you got the phone call and they're like, Bradley's missing. And you're like, typical, right? And his family was like, typical. And then the car, when Chelsea calls, Bradley doesn't have a cell phone, and the two people he was with, I guess, said, oh, he's going to bring it back, but they report it stolen. So now sheriff's office shows up, car stolen. They turn it back over to the family.
yes.
All right. What happens next?
So that's just one day.
Keys were on the seat, no damage to the car.
Yeah.
And actually
Unlocked.
where the car was parked, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's not that far from where Chelsea lived, right?
Well, it's not too far from where Chelsea lives. It's maybe 20 miles, but it's
No, I could boom this out, but I thought the car was found not that far from wherever residence it was.
correct, but that was not Chelsea's house.
Whose house was it? Tell me about that.
Okay, Jason and Danielle. Chelsea was calling Jason and Danielle's phone. That's two of the
That's the two
individuals.
were with him that were relaying the message that he's going to bring it home?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's safe to use her name. It's public record.
Yes,
All right.
yes.
So when Chelsea is calling like, hey, I need my car back. I got to get my kid. It's my grandma's car. She's going to bust my ass. They're like acting like they're talking to him. And
Yeah, we'll
saying he's
tell
gonna
him. We'll let him know. He said he's
so
coming back.
They weren't saying he was there in the room with him. So tell me what happened with them that day.
Yeah.
To the best of your knowledge.
So, to the best of my knowledge, and Chelsea, his girlfriend, could confirm this, he leaves her house in her car, in her grandmother's car, and he's going to Jason and Danielle's, and he's going to his mother's. And he was at both of those locations multiple times that day.
We know he went to his mom's.
Yes.
Is that when she said he said, bye, I love you.
Mhm.
I'll be back later.
Yeah.
And then I don't know about the other two, what's her
Jason
name?
and Danielle. That's the house, the couple's home that he was visiting. They lived in a trailer in Shady Oaks Trailer Park.
Okay.
And there's a road where the vehicle was found. You can drive down the road and it Y's. Either way, it dead ends. But at the beginning of that road is the trailer park, which is
Right.
just a loop, which is where Jason and Danielle's house was.
Right.
It's exactly 0.9 miles
Yeah.
from where the car was found to Jason and Danielle's house.
Right. So it's not far, but my next thought is when Chelsea's calling them, they're saying, hey, we'll relay the message. Bradley doesn't have a cell phone.
Mm-mm.
How they going to relay the message? Because evidently they're waiting on him to come back.
On.
They're
Yeah.
waiting on him to come back.
Yes.
So he's out and about doing whatever. So do we know if the couple in the trailer park at Shady Oaks or his mom was the last one to see him?
I don't know.
Okay. But the couple in trailer park saw him that day.
Multiple times.
Multiple times. And we can only assume what he's doing at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so we don't know what his mom says, bye, what have you. And the car is recovered and what happens in the days after.
Well, I don't know much that's going on until November 5th when she officially filed a missing person report.
And she being his mother.
His mother, Tony.
And how do you know that she did it? How did you learn that she did that?
Because they put out, a welfare concern post on social media after she did that.
They being?
The sheriff's office, Vernon Parish Sheriff's Office.
And what did it say? Do you remember?
Just something to the effects of, if you've seen or heard from Bradley, please tell him get in touch with somebody, and we just want to confirm his whereabouts, his safety.
And by this time, he's been gone for 6 days.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Nobody's seen him.
No.
Okay. And he doesn't have a cell phone, so that can't be tracked.
Yes.
What about, do you know, did he deal strictly in cash or did he have a bank card? I wouldn't assume he had credit cards if he's using narcotics.
Yeah, there was no credit card proof. I know that was being checked into.
That's what the first thing I'm going to do on a missing person is if I think
cell phones
legit, and I'm going to check
money.
For financial transactions, right? You got to eat. Even if you don't have a cell phone, I understand that, but you got to eat. You got to get around. You got to stay somewhere.
And there's nothing. There's none of that.
So mom makes the report and they put it out on social media. That's how you learn about it. And what do you do
That's
next?
the point that I got the phone call from the friend.
And what are the phone calls?
Sir?
That was when you were down in Calcasieu?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
And you got the call but you weren't worried.
No, I wasn't worried. I just was like, yeah, he'll turn up.
All right. So tell how it progressed after that.
So, days are just kind of going by
But you're still not really worried.
I'm not too worried at first. And then I get curious and I start reaching out to his dad's side of the family and they're saying the same exact thoughts that I had. I'm like, hey, Uncle Clifford, have you heard from Bradley? I know they put out, a welfare check for him. And he said, yeah, I'm not worried. You know how he does. He'll turn up. And same thing with Papa Sam. He said, Morgan, his mom is just being crazy like she always is. He's going to turn up. We all know that,
Right.
Nobody's worried.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what's happening on their end or what they're doing.
Who is they?
The family, his family at that point. Papa Sam, Uncle Clifford, his cousins. But day after day, there come a point after a couple of weeks where we're all like, did you hear from Bradley? Did you hear from? No, nobody has. Okay. So I slowly start to get concerned and then just information starts coming in.
Screeds talk.
Mm-hmm. To me, people are messaging me and they're like, I seen Bradley walking up Highway 10 in Sandy Hill and he didn't look like he was doing really well. Or I seen him at the gas station and he just looks bad. And
so this is after he's been reported missing. Now, it's been my experience in these cases, once you run that stuff on social media, you get a lot of fake sightings.
Rumors
People like, oh, I saw
go
him
flying.
saw him in the grocery store. I saw him this, saw him that. And I have to chase down every one of these, and they always end up, not always, but 9 times out of 10, they end up being proven false.
There
The
was so
person
much
got it
of
wrong. And so what I'm asking you is this. All these texts that you're getting, people are saying this and they're saying that. Was any of that ever validated that he was still alive after that date?
No, it was never confirmed.
Right. So, but people, the rumor mill, not small parish, but rural areas, small population wise, people are going to talk. And sometimes they have nothing better to do but gossip, and they're hitting you up, and but nobody
Actually
saw
him.
it. Right.
No.
So what happens?
I start really looking into things because I am getting worried.
So when you say looking into them, what do you do?
I'm going to Sandy Hill, and that's not very far from my house. I'm 7.5 months pregnant.
Oh, Lord.
I'm in another relationship, and 7.5 months pregnant, and I'm going to Sandy Hill, and I've got flyers, and I'm knocking on doors, and I'm talking to people, and I'm stomping through the woods, and whatever one person says, I follow up on what they say, and I go to the next place, and I follow up on what they say, and I go to the next place, and it's just...
That's called an investigation. This episode is brought to you by IQBAR, our exclusive snack and hydration sponsor. We're so excited to announce they've teamed up with Thomas Keller, Michelin star chef of the French Laundry, on 2 special edition products, a salted caramel chip protein bar and a yuzu mango hydration mix. Y'all, the salted caramel chip bar is officially my new favorite protein bar. It tastes just as dreamy as it sounds, sweet and salty and totally addicting in the best way. This collaboration grew out of Chef Keller's daily regimen of IQBAR products and combines IQBAR's nutritional excellence with Keller's culinary expertise. IQBAR's plant protein bars are packed with clean and delicious ingredients that keep you physically and mentally fit. Example, the salted caramel chip IQBAR has 12 grams of protein and only 1 gram of sugar, plus brain-boosting nutrients like lion's mane adaptogen. The yuzu mango IQ mix is a refreshing zero-sugar hydration mix that marries bold flavor, essential electrolytes for your body, and lion's mane plus magnesium for your brain. Just mixed with water for the Michelin star taste and next-level hydration. With over 20,000 5-star reviews and counting, more people than ever are fueling their busy lifestyles with IQBAR's brain and body boosting bars, hydration mixes, and mushroom coffees. When IQBAR sent me the salted caramel chip IQBAR and the yuzu mango IQ mix, I was blown away. I couldn't believe something so delicious could be good for me. I had never had yuzu before either. In case you don't know, it's a citrus fruit, a cross between a lemon, a grapefruit, and a mandarin, which pairs well with sweet tropical essence of mango. And right now, IQBAR is offering our special podcast listeners 20% off all IQBAR products plus free shipping. To get your 20% off, text RLRC to 64,000. Text RLRC to 64,000. That's RLRC to 64,000. Regular message and data rates may apply. See terms for details. Hey, you know what doesn't belong in your epic summer plans? That's getting burned by your old wireless bill. While you're planning beach trips and barbecues and 3-day weekends, your wireless bill should be the last thing holding you back. That's why I made the switch to Mint Mobile. With plans starting at $15 a month, Mint Mobile gives you premium wireless service on the nation's largest 5G network. The coverage and the speed you're used to, but way less money. So while your friends are sweating over data overages and surprise charges, you'll be chilling literally and financially. Say bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you. All plans come from high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered to the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all your existing contacts. I use this and you should too. And honestly, the switch to Mint Mobile was a no-brainer for me. The service is just as good as my old provider, but my bill is a fraction of what it used to be. I haven't had any dropped calls. My data speeds are solid, and knowing I'm saving money every single month, that's the real win. This year, skip breaking the sweat and breaking the bank. Get your summer savings and shop premium wireless plans at mintmobile.com/RLRC. That's mintmobile.com/RLRC. Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months. 5 gigabyte plan required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customer offer for the first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees are extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Did you know your birthday doesn't tell the whole story when it comes to how old you really are? I've learned that your biological age, basically how old your cells and organs actually are, is one of the most powerful predictors of your long-term health. That's why I was so curious to try the True Age test from TruDiagnostic. It's a super simple at-home test that helps you uncover your biological age and gives you insight into your risk for things like Alzheimer's, heart disease, even early mortality. I ordered it myself because I wanted a clearer picture of my health beyond just checkups. It blew my mind to learn that if your biological age is just 5 years older than your actual age, your risk of major illness can go up by 30 to 50%. That was a wake-up call. But what really motivated me was this. Up to 90% of biological aging is driven by lifestyle. That means how we eat, sleep, move, and manage stress really matters. And we can slow it down. TruDiagnostic doesn't just show you your biological age. You get a full personalized report loaded with science-backed steps to actually improve your health over time. I'm genuinely excited to see my results and make some smart changes, maybe dial in my sleep or rethink my supplements or just build better habits overall. The whole process is easy. Just a quick finger prick at home, pop your sample into the prepaid mailer, and a few weeks later, your results are online with clear, actionable insights. If you care about protecting your health and want to find out what your real age is, head over to TruDiagnostic.com and use my code RLRC to get 20% off your entire order or subscription. That's TruDiagnostic.com and use RLRC at checkout to get 20% off. Your future self will thank you. Did you know there's an online cannabis company that ships federally legal THC right to your door? And they found a way to combine THC with carefully selected functional ingredients to target nearly every mood and health concern you can think of. I'm talking about Mood.com's incredible line of functional gummies. And you can get 20% off your first order at Mood.com with promo code RLRC. Forget one-size-fits-all supplements that only get you high. Mood's functional gummies are optimized to kick in as little as 15 minutes and take you to the mood that you're looking for. Whether that's Mind Magic gummies for deep work and creativity, PMS support to ease cramps and balance mood swings, or their sexual euphoria gummies to help you feel ready for action and turn every touch into a full body experience. Look, y'all, you know I have trouble sleeping. I take the Sleepy Time gummy. I take a quarter of one before I go to sleep, and I sleep hard all night long. Never even move, wake up feeling fresh as a daisy. So listen, you can find gummies to just get you high pretty much anywhere these days. But Mood's functional gummies combine premium federal legal THC with targeted botanicals to help you get into that perfect mood, usually in as little as 15 minutes. And everything ships discreetly right to your door. No dispensary lines, no awkward conversations, just better days and nights delivered to your doorstep. Best of all, not only is every Mood product backed by a 100-day satisfaction guarantee, but as I mentioned, listeners get 20% off their first order with code RLRC. So head to mood.com, find the functional gummy that matches exactly what you're looking for, and let Mood help you discover your perfect mood. And don't forget to use promo code RLRC when you check out to save 20% on your first order.
It was so tiring, and that was only the beginning of it. I thought, I just never dreamed I'd still be doing this here today, So I gather my friend up. She's like, listen, you're not doing this by yourself, first of all. Big mama, I'm big out there pregnant. And she's like, some of these people are sketchy. So I hear that one dude saw him at his mom's house and we need to go talk to him. I'm knocking on the door. I went to high school with him and I'm knocking. And somebody, his mother, comes to the door and I say, hey, can I talk to such and such? And well, why? The police already talked to him. He's not going to talk to you. And then some other guy that supposedly his stepdad comes out.
They talked to him about Bradley?
Yes.
Police?
He said and then the stepdad says the same thing. You don't need to talk to him. The cops already have. And at this point, I'm not.
Right.
I'm looking for
Right. You
Bradley.
don't even know the cops are talking to people.
I'm not accusing anybody of anything.
Right.
I literally just want to have a conversation, and say, hey, did you see him? What was he doing? What was he wearing?
Right.
Where was he going?
Right.
And the dude, knowing me, even still wouldn't come out and talk to me. And all I wanted to do was ask about the last time he saw him. I was not there to accuse.
Right.
Immediate red flags.
Right.
For me.
Right.
I'm going to Jason and Danielle's. I knock on the door. They didn't answer.
And that's Shady Oaks Trailer Park. Right.
I knock on the door another day. They didn't answer. And then word was sent to me from them that I better not come back to their house. They're not talking to me. They got nothing to say to me.
Okay.
And they don't know nothing. And that's that.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why those two encounters were so weird is because everywhere I went, everybody wanted to talk about the missing guy, Bradley Stracener. They wanted to ask questions. They wanted to tell me things.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to talk about him except a handful of people.
All right. Now I'm about to rain check you from a opposite direction.
Okay.
It's just because, remember, I told you, I don't think I said this in the last episode. In this case, everybody's a suspect except for me and you. All right. I know you've been living this for 5 years and 8 months, and you certainly have your opinions and everything on it. I get that. But today we're going to work without that. But I'm going to tell you what, if the cops had showed up at my house, whether I had any involvement in it or not, they were questioning about this missing dude, right? And I may have heard something on the streets, or whatever, and I'm, if I'm not involved, I'm gonna tell the cops what I heard, and then be like, "Fuck, I ain't talking to anybody else about it because it's, what I already talking to somebody about Bradley's already got the cops knocking on my door. My mom and dad's are sweating, and so I would be like, "Fuck you, Morgan, I'm not talking to you." The couple at the trailer park, the same thing. I'm not saying that they don't know something or whatever, red flags. I'm not saying that you're not right. I'm just giving you the opposite end of the spectrum, being like, I'd be like, fuck that motherfucker.
Putting yourself in their shoes.
Put me having the cops in my house and they questioned me, rightfully so. You were one of the last ones to see them. They're going to be in your grill, right? But let's take it back for a second. At this point, if the cops are talking to people, they must think something's up. I mean, at some point, they must have started to think, well, this isn't just Bradley running away again, which in my mind means that somebody gave them a piece of information, which is the same thing I'm expecting is going to happen on this tip line. Somebody's going to call in and be like, this is what happened. Leave me out of it. Go look it up. But is it so? You confirmed, at least at the one house, the cops have already spoke to this person.
Yes.
And so at what point do you go to the cops and like, what's going on or whatever? Or what do you tell me chronologically what happens next? When does the news media get involved? When do you learn that the cops are involved? When's the first time you talk to cops? You tell me. To tell all the listeners out there.
I go home, and then, this is all between missing person report being filed and Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving Day rolls around, and I decided, I just woke up and I don't know. We've talked about gut feelings, and you need cold hard proof, but sometimes you also just can't ignore your gut.
Absolutely.
And
not.
I said,
hey, every case I've ever saw is because of that woman with my gut.
Yeah.
Right.
I said to myself when I woke up that Thanksgiving Day, I had to realize that something was telling me Bradley's not coming back this time.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know what to do from there. I told my mom that. We had dinner, family left, we cleaned up. And I said, Mom, I'm going to go. Can you please watch Oliver? I'm just going to go. She said, where are you going? What are you doing? I said, I don't know. I'm just going. She said, what's the matter? I said, Mama, I don't think Bradley's coming back this time. And I just watched, just relief flood over her, just for her to hear me say that, because she had been feeling the same thing.
Yeah, she didn't want to.
And she didn't want to tell me.
Shade on you. Yeah, I get that.
And she said, Morgan, I'm glad you finally said that, because I've really been thinking the same thing too. Not this time. This time it's different. And so I left. I knew where I was going. I drove up into Shady Oaks Trailer Park. So this is Thanksgiving Day. There's not a lot of traffic on the road.
Yeah.
And there's two people at the first trailer I passed. And I pulled up, and they come out from under the hood of a car. I roll my window down. They walk up to my van. And I said, hey, I'm Morgan. And I said, my ex-husband, I guess, has been missing, and this was one of the last places he was seen. And do y'all know him? His name is, I have his picture on my phone. I'm holding my phone in their face. His name's Bradley. Have y'all seen him? It was a man and a woman. And they said, yeah, we know who Bradley is. In this part, I'll never forget this part ever. It's one of the first things that I'll never forget throughout this whole thing that I've been through. They pointed at the trailer behind them, and they said, if you want to know what happened to Bradley. They didn't say if you want to know where Bradley is, if you want to talk to them about where he might be. If you want to know what happened to Bradley, you need to talk to those people in that trailer right there.
And that was that?
And that was at Jason and Danielle's house.
Okay. Wow.
And it concurred with all the other things that I had been hearing. So at that point, I decided I hadn't called the sheriff's department up until this point, but that following week, I get involved.
All right. Tell me all about that.
I call them, and at first I'm talking to Detective Sly. And I know Detective Sly, he and Bradley knew each other very well. Totally aside from the small town
you
stuff.
You talked to him on the phone?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And he says, yeah, we're working on it, and we're going to be looking at them.
So you told him what the couple said.
Yep.
I mean, that's
a
natural
hearing.
Conclusion that, and then plus they told you themselves, stay away from our trailer, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And the couple says, what happened? You want to know what happened to Bradley? I asked them. So I get, and if I was working Bradley's case back then, the last people that's who you start with.
Yeah.
The last people who saw him, then the people that are closest.
Yeah. So
you're talking to the detective.
Yeah.
And he knows Bradley.
Yeah. He says, we're looking into things, and I asked them very specifically, because there was one time that Bradley didn't want to be in trouble. He was in trouble, and he did leave.
Mm-hmm.
He came back and he got caught, but always come back. And so I was thinking, is he in trouble? So I asked them, are y'all looking for him? Like, were y'all looking for him? Is he in trouble? Did he do something? Does he have a warrant? And they told me time and time again, not just that one time. There's no warrants. We are not looking for him. He has no reason to run off. They said those things to me.
Right.
And so time rocks on and I call again, maybe just a couple of weeks. I call again, and from out of the blue, Detective Sly is no longer working for them. He's jumped ship to Beauregard Parish. New lead detective on the case, David Vance. Detective Vance is who I now speak with.
All right. And how does that go?
And he tells me that they've reached out to Jason and Danielle and that they gave them an opportunity to come in.
And they did.
And he said, we're going to wait and see if they come in. So I don't hear anything. I call again into the following week. And I said, hey, what's going on? Well, they never come in to talk to us, so we served a search warrant. And kicked their door in. You heard feet hit the ground. And we took them in for questioning. They lawyered up. And we can't question them anymore. They said that Bradley was at their house and he was acting crazy and they didn't know where he went after he left there. And this is all stuff that Detective Vance is telling me. And he says they each took a polygraph test, and I can't remember which is which. One was inconclusive, one failed.
Inconclusive is really a failure.
Yeah, my thoughts too.
But it's... I'm 25 years on polygraph, and so many points to the positive side you pass it, so many points to the negative side you fail it, that there's not enough data to score. Generally, it's because the person is taking. I'm not saying that they did, but I'm just saying because I don't know. But generally, the person is using some type of countermeasures and it jacks up the scoring.
He told me some kind of...
is a deliberate attempt on the part of the examinee to do something to alter the outcome of the test.
He told me some kind of elaborate story about sweat glands, Detective Vance, about whichever one was inconclusive, there was some kind of defect and they would never be able to take a polygraph test and pass or fail and it be accurate.
Never heard of that.
Yada.
I have heard of people I've actually had people put deodorant on their hands to stop sweating. They used to call it galvanic skin response. Now they call it electrodermal activity. All it is skin sweat. This is one of the 3 areas that's measured. But I don't know. What's the name? Jason and what? Danielle?
Jason and Danielle.
For the record, I don't know them, don't know anything about it, and I'm certainly not accusing them of anything. I'm simply sitting here talking to Miss Morgan about the story. So Detective Vance. Now, you can't just go get a fucking search warrant for no reason. All right, search warrants, you have to go before a judge. You have to write it out, and I've written 1,000 of them. I need to search this residence, such and such, 103 Magnolia Drive. Residents are Bob and Sue. I have reason to believe they have X amount of narcotics in the residence. Or let's say it's Bradley's case. I have reason to believe, due to the statements given by other reliable sources, that Bradley Stracener was last seen at this residence and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, you got to put a lot of shit in there and you got to go before a judge. And the judge reads it and the judge has to sign it. You can't just get a fucking search warrant. You can't just write up your own search warrant and go do it. A judge has to sign it. When you serve the search warrant, when you take the door, you serve the search warrant. You can bring them in for questioning. If you don't have anything to charge them with, then you got to let them go. But maybe they got a warrant for something else that you can bring them in and book them on. But when you serve the search warrant, they actually search it, they said they're going to be searching for blood, evidence, or traces, whatever it may be. They serve it. They have to do what they call a search warrant return. They have to take everything that they took from the trailer, even if it's just the people they took out of the trailer. They have to take that and file that back with the court. You don't know anything about that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what transpired other than what Vance told me.
All right. So Vance tells you they take the door, they get them, they bring them in. They said Bradley was there, he's acting crazy, and he left.
Yeah.
All right. And they lawyer it up.
Lowe's knows how to set off your July 4th with savings. Right now, buy one, get one free on select one-coat coverage interior paint via Visa gift card rebate. Plus, get two select 2 or 2.5 quart red, white, and blue annuals for just $10. Hurry, these July 4th deals won't last long. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 7/9. Selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii. More terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/rebates for more details.
Now, they didn't lawyer up evidently right away because they both took polygraphs. I'm sure they lawyered up, and after they took the polygraph and they were told deception indicated, which means they failed and inconclusive. I don't know what this hand thing is. I've never heard of that. Whatever. Do you know if it was obviously there's voice stress tests, which are illegal in like half the states because they're proving you have a better chance of flipping a coin and getting it correct and using that basically as an interrogation tool. And then there's true polygraph, which records your physiological tracings in 3 areas. And it sounds like it was a true polygraph because he's talking about skin sweat and the voice stress doesn't measure that. Do you know who gave the test?
No idea.
I would bet money, and I may be wrong, but I would bet money Vernon Parish does not have their own polygraphist. I was the first polygraphist ever to be licensed in Livingston Parish. And then, of course, you know, when I was with the state police, I would go out and help other agencies on criminal cases, and a lot of times that I would have to polygraph people and stuff. But you have polygraph rights. They can't force you to take the polygraph. You have to sign, yes, I'm going to take this. I'm doing it of my own free will. I don't want an attorney, blah, blah, blah. So if it's even true, we don't know if Vance is telling you the truth, but I'm assuming that he is because he told you this. I don't know him from Dick, right? He tells you one failed, one's inconclusive. They lawyer it up. Then what? What does he say?
He says that was it. There was nothing else he could do about them, that he was going to have to look for and follow other leads.
Okay. Well, as an investigator, you have to look for, and I wouldn't, okay, he's telling you he's got one that failed, one that's inconclusive. They lawyer it up. Okay. Now, looking for other leads, you're always going to work any other lead that comes in, okay? But you can't get off these two at this point, if from a detective standpoint. That I would be then working to other people, witnesses, people that knew this couple, to try and shake the trees, if you will, see what comes out.
Yep.
But he's just doing whatever. So what happens next? Has the news media picked up on it yet?
No, just lots of shares on social media.
Okay, lots of shares on social media. Detective Vance is working now. Does he say we're working as a missing persons case? Did he say we think there's foul play? Why do you get a search warrant if you don't think there's foul play?
At that point, he's still saying it's a missing persons case, nothing more at that point.
That means that other than, people saying, and I don't know what's been said yet, but there's a reason they're looking for Bradley this time, or there's a reason they're talking to people and shaking the trees. And it's not because Bradley's run off on a dope bender.
Yep.
So what happens now?
Days are getting rough, It's hard. We're worried. We're so worried.
You and your family, your mama and his family.
My whole family, his whole family on both sides.
Social media is doing what?
This is early on, and I'm sharing posts on social media. Bradley's face missing. If you have information, call the Vernon Parish Sheriff's Office. And some of those posts, even then, they got shared thousands of times.
Right. And this is like in 2020.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
And what happens?
People are messaging me saying all kinds of things. When I tell you rumors were flying, you name it, I heard it. They found a body and it's Bradley. They found a head. They found Bradley was put in a tub and chunked in the river or put in a wood chipper. I heard that one a lot.
Yeah,
and so it's like,
not about Bradley on other cases.
And back then, I'm brand new to this. I don't have a clue really what I'm doing. I'm just doing. And every single one of those things to hear was so horrifying and so heartbreaking. And it made it so hard to go on because I'm trying to block this out of my head, hoping that none of those things are true and that he's just going to turn up.
Yeah. Well, during this time, do you have any contact with the sheriff's office?
I'm checking pretty regularly.
When you say you're checking, what is checking?
I'm calling. I go and see them sometimes.
Tell me about it. You go and see who?
David Vance.
You got to tell the listeners so they
Yeah.
know. So you're actively going to see Detective David Vance, and you go see him, and what happens?
Well, we're past the November 5th point where the official missing persons, report was filed, and immediately in those days to follow, I'm like, they're cops. They've searched this car that Bradley was driving that day. They had to have done forensics on the car, right? And so I asked him about that, and he says to me, "We don't have any reason to do that. We don't have no reason. He's just missing."
And look, I'm gonna be honest with you, not to hurt your feelings. At that point, he's right. And I know it sounds crazy, but if
it does to me.
If you sent every recovered stolen car to the crime lab to be processed, the crime lab would never be able to do anything else. You just don't do it. I mean, if there's no obvious blood, there's no damage, there's no bullet casings or holes in the seat or whatever. And plus, his family wants their car back.
Yeah.
Grandma's got to have her car back. So now after you get later on, he develops enough information to get a search warrant and bring him in and question him, and they lure you up or whatever. I probably at that point would have definitely taken a look at the car. At some point, as the investigation went on, I definitely would have looked at the car. Yes, I know it would have been too late, and the car could have been cleaned and everything else, but not always. I've had cases where we've gone back years later and got trace evidence out of the car that tied back to the suspect. So I don't know Vance, don't know dick about him. I'm just saying, back in November when it's still a missing person case, I wouldn't fuck with the car either. But down the line, and after the first detective had it, and then you talk to Vance, he gets the case, they brought him in, blah, 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 blah. Certainly I would have looked at the car, but that's just me. I don't know what kind of training he's had or whatever. But you're going in there and getting FaceTime with this dude. And now we're into the next year, because it was on Thanksgiving Day when you told your mom, I don't think he's coming home, and you really start pounding everything. So you go and you see Vance, and what?
It's just always, we're following leads, and we'll let you know. And he would call me, and sometimes he would tell me who he questions, sometimes he wouldn't. And that was the kind of calls I was getting and it didn't take too long for me to start feeling like they were just pacifying me. I felt like that pretty early, but not so immensely, as I did later on. And it was hard because, you already know I'm a loved one of a missing person. Of course, it's going to look and feel like they're not doing enough.
Right. Well, they're working on the case and shit, and I get that. But what I don't get past is the point of you're telling me he told you they served a search warrant, they brought him in, they got him to take polygraphs, and gave you the results of them. There's probably some legal issue there, but they gave you the results of them, what have you, that at that point, if you got all the red flags,
you don't just stop pursuing.
Right. But not Detective Vance, right? So, but you feel like they're placating.
Yeah.
And so Bradley still never been heard from, not hide or hair of him.
Mm-mm.
No phone calls, no financial transactions. Nobody's seen him. Time goes on, it's being shared on social media. Detectives done search warrants. Say you going in and seeing them after this, feel like you're getting placated. At what point does the media pick? At what point does or what else is Vernon Parish Sheriff's Office saying about Bradley? Are they doing any more social media posts or anything? I'm getting to a point.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it took a little while, but they and I couldn't tell you the date or time, but one of the news outlets, either KPLC or KLB, did a segment with the sheriff's office about Bradley. And they show some videos of some little dogs running through the woods. And they said that was at the location where the car was found. They did tell me, I guess that's one thing I did forget, is that in the meantime, search warrant at Jason and Danielle's and them actually being questioned, that was a part of that warrant. The trailer park and the pond behind it and the area where the car was found was supposedly searched. And there was a news crew there briefly. And the sheriff is talking about Bradley. And if you have any information, to call us, and that they are looking. They've searched in places and nothing's turning
Would
up.
it be KPLC 7?
Probably, most likely, yes.
Or is it on I'm going to play this actual. Okay, y'all, I'm going to play for you the very first news media coverage by KPLC, Channel 7, and listen to it now.
What happened to Bradley Stracener? That's what the Leesville man's family and law enforcement are questioning several years after his disappearance. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jade Morrow. Tonight, his family says they will never stop searching for answers.
God gave him to me, and I'm going to get answers before I leave this.
Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into years. Not a rock goes unturned or lead go unfollowed in the search for Bradley Stracener.
He said, "Bye, Mom, I love you. I'll see you in a while." And he drove off, and I never in a million years thought that was it.
October 30th will mark the 3rd anniversary of his disappearance. The vehicle Stracener was driving was located near Shady Oaks Trailer Park in the Sandy Hill area on October 31st, according to the Vernon Parish Sheriff's Office. The vehicle unlocked, keys laying in the seat. Bradley has not been seen since, nor has any viable information regarding his disappearance surfaced.
Searches of the woods, interviews, the light. Where Bradley is.
On the 2nd anniversary of his disappearance, the sheriff's office said they believe that foul play is probably involved. Most recently, law enforcement partnered with an out-of-state search and rescue group to once again search that area.
Dogs and the dog handler did not come up with anything.
Nearly 3 excruciatingly long years without answers.
Who, what, when, where, we know nothing. We just know that come October, it's going to be 3 years since anyone on earth has seen or heard from him.
His family wants people to remember his infectious laugh and the love he had for his son.
If his family and I didn't try so hard and keep pushing, that Bradley would be forgotten right now.
I just asked that somebody come forward and do what's right and just let us finally put this to rest, because this has been 3 years of hell.
Anyone with information, no matter how significant, is asked to contact the Vernon Parish Sheriff's Office.
Hi, y'all. So there you heard it. Now it's almost 3 years by this time, and you've been communicating with Vance and everything else. But the male voice you heard on there was Sheriff Sam Kraft.
Yes.
And he's the sheriff of Vernon Parish, correct?
Yes.
And they're saying they suspect foul play. Right?
Yep.
I didn't make that shit up.
Nope.
It's on the
3
news.
years in, yes, that's what they said.
But they said 2 years in, they suspected foul play. This article is finally coming out, and it's been almost 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So at 2 years in, they had enough evidence to get the cadaver dogs and the search areas and everything else. And at 2 years in, they're saying the sheriff's office has told the news media, KPLC 7, we suspect foul play.
Yeah.
Right?
And yes, sir, that's correct. Recent months before that interview was one of the meetings with Detective Vance, and he and I had this conversation behind a closed door in his office, and I told him, I said, I don't think after all this time, Vance, that Bradley's coming back. I do not believe that he is alive anymore. And he looked at me in my eyes and he told me, I think that's what we're looking at. Is he said, it is my belief that Bradley is no longer alive.
Detective Vance told you that personally?
Yes, he did.
Okay. So now, I'll throw y'all a curveball. And I'm still trying to work out how to tell the story. And you know it so well because you've lived it. And I'm Johnny come lately. But at some point, and we're going to get into it on the next episode, but at some point, it becomes knowledge that Bradley said, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that if something ever happens to me, I taped a letter to the bottom of an AC unit in a hotel room. Is that correct?
Correct.
And tell me how you came to know about the letter, how it became knowledge that Bradley said, if something happened to me, I taped a letter to the bottom of an air conditioning unit in a hotel room, and he gave the room number. How did you hear about that?
Well, there was a letter that came about just from out of nowhere. And, you know, as we already know, I had no contact with Bradley. And so I'm getting all the information from girlfriend, mother, you know, uncle, cousin. And at some point in time, a letter comes out. I get picture copies, photographs of the letter.
Right.
1000% Bradley's handwriting.
Right.
Now, in this letter,
I've seen it. It's very distinct handwriting. It's
yes,
bad like mine.
Yes.
So this letter comes out, right? And you said Detective Vance showed it to you?
No, I got pictures of it from
somebody else.
Yeah, from somebody else.
But correct me if I'm wrong, and then we'll get into it in the next episode. But this letter, it comes to be known that this letter, it's like Bradley speaking from the grave. But he was telling ahead of time, whoever he told, and we'll talk about it in the next episode, that something happens to me. I taped a letter to the bottom of the AC unit in the hotel. So this letter, Bradley has told someone that something happens to me. I taped a letter underneath the AC unit in a particular room in a particular hotel in Leesville. And guess what? Bradley disappears. And at some point, somebody comes forward with that knowledge, says, hey, he told me that something happened to me. I hit a letter.
Yeah.
And it'll explain what happened to me.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
And we know for a fact that he hid that letter, and it was retrieved from the spot and the hotel room that he said it would be at. And this is after people hadn't seen him for forever.
Yeah, for it's months at this point.
For months and months. But so they go and they get the letter, and we'll tell y'all on the next episode, a real life, real crime, hashtag justice for Bradley, what the letter says. And we're kind of skipping around, but not skipping around because there's so much to the story, so many different angles. But the Bradley, I've read the letter. I understand everything that's in it and everything else. And the it's really going to take you down a wormhole. And then I probably someone who isn't me can say off the record that they probably believe that the nuts to this whole story are in that letter, and to why Swim thinks Bradley got murdered. All right.
Yes.
But you have to continue to use the tip line. Call in your tips, call them in, and we're coming, and we're already doing it, but we're coming, and you give the right tip. Look, one case, I drove through the middle of the night. Tip came in late at night, drove through the middle of the night and got a recording that was played in the guy's murder trial. That it's that tip line's 24/7. You leave a voicemail, whatever, remain anonymous. I don't have to say who told me what. I don't have to. I'm not law enforcement. I don't have to play by the cops' rules. And a lot of times people tell me shit they won't tell cops now, right? And so do it. You look, what if Bradley was your husband? What if Bradley was the father of your child? What if Bradley was your son? What if Bradley was your brother? What if Bradley was your best friend? Bradley didn't deserve to be murdered. Just didn't. Nobody deserves to be murdered. You are listening now because the word's already been out. This is the second week since we announced we're on the case. I know it's spreading like wildfire. It's done it in every case that we've done. Spreading like wildfire. I'm sure the tip line's going to be burning up by now. Call it. If you would talk to Morgan Baggett when she's 7.5 months pregnant, knocking on your door and just trying to find out what I call some juice, right? She's trying to find Bradley, hoping he's still alive. Talk to this old homicide detective, all right? Give me information. You can remain anonymous. Help me build this case. Help me. Wouldn't it be great if we could bring at least part of Bradley home to be buried? And so Oliver can have somewhere to go. Yeah.
A place where we knew where he was at.
Yeah. That, and then ultimately, the reason I do these series, #Justice4, this is Bradley Stracener, is there's murderers walking around.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's got to pay for it. Now, we've established everything, timeline, all the way up to the first news article. And then we're going to tell you about the letter in the next episode. And then we're going to do some more news articles, some more stuff that happened with the sheriff's office. And sugar is turning to shit. This case goes totally fucking downhill from here, from a law enforcement standpoint. And I don't want to go there, but I didn't do what these people are doing, or not do what these people haven't done. And if that's what it takes to get people pissed off, to call in the tip that brings Bradley home, or #gets us justice for Bradley, #justice for Bradley Stracener, I don't give a fuck. I don't care who upset. You shouldn't have done it. I mean, it is what it is. But y'all, it's going to blow your mind. It's going to blow your mind. You have anything you want to add or take away? I know you got a million things you want to say, but
yeah, my brain is smoking right now for sure, just listening to you.
And that's why I told you that y'all, you might get a kick out of this. She drove so far, bless her heart, all the way across the state to be here with me today, and she's been waiting to tell the story so many years, and she's done it. You've done a phenomenal job in carrying the torch for Bradley, and you're doing it ultimately for Oliver, right? And I get that, but I think at this point, you've done enough, and you're still doing it, right? Being here, I mean, shit, I made that drive too many times. You're still doing it, but at this point, with your help, we're going to do it. We'll do it together. And at this point, you need to remember there are murderers out there, and they don't want to go to jail. They don't want to go to prison, not jail. prison. Jail or hell for me, where they go, I don't care. But they go on one of them. So you need to stay safe. But what I was telling y'all, I don't know. Morgan's kind of a force. When you get to know her, she's a force of nature, if you will. I'm saying I'm smiling. It's a good thing. That's the reason you've been carrying us all these years, 5 years, 8 months. Morgan's a bit of a force, but I'm like, you can only do so many episodes in a day for a couple of reasons. One, I believe that I start to lose my mental focus, not focus, but sharpness and the things and the ways I want the story to go, what I want the listeners to hear. Mainly, right now, all we're doing is the first episode, we put the human face on Bradley. The second episode, we're putting the human face on you and the family's pain. And we're not even paying at this point what you've done. Mm-hmm. And then we put in the human face on the sheriff's office. And then you used to be telling a story, right? And it starts after so many hours in a row, you start to, and when you can hit it fresh again. And I think you're beginning to feel a little bit of that now. And that's okay. I mean, it's a lot. You've been fighting this 5 years and 8 months. And look, every time you look at Oliver, I'm sure you think of Bradley.
Yeah, he's his twin.
And that's tough shit. So I applaud you for keeping it up. We're just getting started, all right? In lifers, y'all give Morgan, I know you're going to do it anyway. You're going to have to become a member of the crew page and the Real Life Real Crime community out, because they're going to be posting about it in there all the time. And they're going to be like, Morgan, hold your head up, Morgan, keep fighting. I know it with the lifers, do. When they take you in, you're like family. Mm-hmm. And so and also the reason we're going to quit getting so far ahead is because I don't know if this is going to take that long to solve. I can't say that. I mean, it might take another 5 years, 8 months, but it might take 5 hours after the first episode. I don't know. But God knows. It
feels good to hear you say that. God I literally knows. Just kind of took a breath. I can tell you
the difference is you're not alone anymore. Now you got neighbors who know who Bradley Stracener was. I mean, total human being. They know about the addiction, the good, bad, and indifferent. But now this stuff has been happening. Mm-hmm. And it's 3 years. The letter, y'all. Real deal. Coming at you next week. And y'all use the tip line. Share. The other thing too, probably by this point, some news media is going to pick it up again that we're covering the story. There's just going to be so much that's going to happen. We don't get too far yet. Mm-hmm. See what I'm saying? And then, but I thank you so much.
I thank you.
Your face is like, I don't know if you're scared or relieved or combination, but I read 98.5% I do for a living is read people. I think you're just like,
good luck with that on this girl.
Maybe mind blown a little bit. I don't know. But we're family now.
I'm thinking about all the things I didn't say and all the things I want to say.
Yeah, everything you said was raw and unscripted.
Yeah.
And it's totally fine. That's another reason why I usually stop after this many episodes, is because I have OCD. My brain will never stop spinning. Mm-hmm. But mine's not washing my hands 20 times a day. Mine is, I can't stop thinking about whatever it is I'm thinking about. And that, in cases like Bradley's, that's bad for the bad guys.
Yeah.
Because it'll be 3:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
And it's going to come to me. Boom, a new thought, a new angle, a new way to look at something, a new thing I haven't thought about. And that's going to be the downfall. Right.
Well, what's held me back so much is being a single mom mostly.
Oh, yeah, shit, you got to live. You got to take care of Oliver. Bradley would want you to do that.
That's exactly right.
And look, y'all, when I tell you everything that Morgan has done in this case, and then you're going to get so mad. But she's done everything way beyond. And that's got to be for another episode, but it's way beyond
I've
just reached out to me
so many times. I love my kids, and my kids are a fact of my life. But I've said, if I didn't have kids, I would have already solved this case.
Yeah. Well, you got kids, And I know you're a good mama, and you're going to go home and be a good mama to them now. All right? And I'm Woody Overton, your host of Real Life Real Crime, the podcast. And until next time or ever, don't let me catch you down on murder. Bye. Peace. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have a right to an attorney prior to or during any question. If you can't afford one, the court will appoint one for you. Do you understand your rights?
And the wolf is at your door. You're running over, that's for sure. He already knows all about you. Cut you down, no matter by you. Now you better walk the line. Real life, real
You want the best for your child. K-12 can help them gain the skills they need to reach their full potential while giving you the support you need to get them there. K-12-powered schools are tuition-free, accredited online public schools for students in kindergarten through 12th grade. Their state-certified teachers make online learning interactive and engaging, allowing your child to learn at their pace from the safety of home. Join the more than 3 million families who have chosen K-12. Go to k12.com/podcast today to learn more. That's k12.com/podcast.
Lowe's knows how to set off your July 4th with savings. Right now, buy one, get one free on select one-coat coverage interior paint via Visa gift card rebate. Plus, get two select 2 or 2.5 quart red, white, and blue annuals for just $10. Hurry, these July 4th deals won't last long. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 7/9. Selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii. More terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/rebates for more details.